But here at Pattrn, our goal is to give you some positive outlook on what we're doing about that.
Yeah.
And one of those places is actually Salem, Massachusetts. Of course, it has an eerie history. It draws people to the city every Halloween. In fact, the area got a record number of visitors just this year alone.
Right. Salem is more than just a hotspot for people looking to learn about the famous witch trials. It's also a city facing an uncertain future with our changing climate. And that's an issue Mayor Kim Driscoll is hoping to combat. She joins us now. Kim, thanks so much for being with us and chatting about this. So let's just kind of break down what's at stake for Salem.
You know, we're a nearly 400-year-old city located right on the coast, just 15 miles north of Boston. So when we think about coastal resiliency and our climate action plan, it's very real. We've been here for 400 years. We want to be here for 400 more.
Totally.
The good news is, though, in all of this is that there is a path to a better future. So you come up with the Resilient Together plan. Tell us about that.
You know, we worked with a neighboring community, the city of Beverly, just north of us, who shares a coastline, shares Salem Sound, to identify and assess where our greenhouse gas emissions are coming from. To no one's surprise, primarily buildings and transportation. And then we put together a to-do list that we'll work on together as communities, tackling everything from mobility issues, how we get around, not only within our own communities, but in adjoining places, and how we think about mitigation and adaptation. And the good news is we're building out a climate core and working on it in concert with each other.
And yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of construction that comes with that, but I can imagine it would be a little tough. I mean, you don't want to disrupt the ghosts and the historic buildings. So when it comes to just like the history of it, is it you have to take more plans or have more plans in place so that you can keep that feel?
You got it. I mean, most of what we're doing in a community like Salem is redevelopment. Frankly, we look a lot more like a European village than a typical place you might see, for instance, in the West Coast of the United States. So we think about mobility and how we get around on roads that were built for horse and buggy when you think about modern day vehicles. So we've got car share and bike share and road share, and really have put a lot of thought into ensuring that we're providing other options to get people around. And especially during Halloween, when we welcome, you know, literally hundreds of thousands of people here, those opportunities are really helpful to us.
Yeah.
You get a lot of visitors, like you just said, especially around this time of year, and actually a record number of visitors this year alone. So how does the resiliency plan help keep the economy intact for future years?
You know, the great part about living in a place where other people go to vacation is the things that you do to benefit visitors or how they might get here also can benefit your own community. So when we think about ways that we're supporting our restaurants, it's outdoor dining and, you know, creating space for people where there used to be just this sort of, real attention paid to cars. That's also led us to take on bike shares and making mobility a real fact of life here, wanting to be a car light city. So if you live here, you don't have to own a vehicle. That's going to help us from the emissions perspective, helping us address our climate needs, but it's also contributing to the quality of life and the vitality here of growing out economic forces.
Sure. Grab a broom, hop on it, get from building to building, going down. I get it. So 400 years old, we jump 400 years in the future. You know, visually, what do you think? You think you're looking at this like futuristic place, but still filled with that history? You think some of the buildings that were there hundreds of years ago are still going to be standing in the future?
You know, we certainly hope so. We always say proud past, bright future. Salem's a place that 15 years ago was home to a coal-fired power plant, one of what we call the Filthy Five in Massachusetts, and is now on our way to a clean energy future, soon to be an offshore wind hub. That's the same port that, you know, served Salem in the 1700s during the Great Age of Sail. Tiny clipper ships left and went around the globe, bringing back wares and prominence to our community. So if a place that's nearly 400 years old can continue to reinvent ourselves, thinking about a modern day economy that's also going to be good for our climate future, we think it's possible anywhere.
All right, Salem, Massachusetts Mayor Kim Driscoll, thank you so much for joining us today. I mean, I love it.
Stay safe tonight, too, by the way.
Yes.
We know it's going to be a little spooky out there.
Preserving the history, but still with a forward-thinking plan.
Yeah.
I love it.
Me too.